afternoon, guys. Welcome back. My name's Herb, and today's project is going to be a continuation on the Delta Carbide grinder. So it's coming along quite well. I'll put up a picture. But what we need to do now is, earlier I had made these nuts for the spindle to hold the wheels on, and we need to make a spanner wrench for them. So I did alter the drawing a little bit from the last time I showed it to you, and the big difference is going to be the hex on the back side. Originally it was going to be a 7/8 hex, and I thought about that. It seemed awful big for what this is going to be, so I'm going to make it 3/4. And I'm going to, when I do that in the milling machine, I'm going to side cut it with the miller, with the end mill, rather than end cut it. It'll give it a little bit more character to it. Just dress it up a little bit. All right. So, off to the lathe. We're going to make it out of the rest of this bar of the 4140 I have. And I am going to make it deep enough when I make this, so that the lugs on the spanner nut, if they become worn, I'm going to be able to have enough room to be able to remake them. That way, if it doesn't hold up the way I'd like it to hold up, I can send that off to be heat treated. I do have a friend that owns a heat treating company right here in Providence, so I will send it off to him if it doesn't stand up the way I want it to. But I think it's going to be fine, but I want to build in a little planned obsolescence, if you want to say it that way. Alright, so I'll see you over at the lathe in a couple minutes, and pretty simple operation, and then out to the milling machine to put the hex and the lugs on. Okay, I'll see you in a couple minutes. Okay, so we're at the lathe. I'm going to put the collet in. I already took the chuck off. We'll make sure we get this nice and clean. And I always try to put this back in exactly the same way, or pretty close to it. I try to line that mock up with that, what I call the #1 cam lock. Clean the collet off. And the drawbar is already up in there. Alright. Now the overall length of this pot is going to be 2" 200. So I'm going to set my hermaphrodite calipers . 2" 200. So I want to make sure I leave enough sticking out here so I can actually cut it off. so we're 200, 2-inch 200. I'm going to part it off there afterwards. I'm going to drill the hole. I'm going to part it off, flip it over, and then I'm going to turn this section down to 163 thousandths, which is going to be the outside diameter or the highest point on this 3/4 hex. Okay? Okay, so boiler's off. I was digging through the bin of drills, and the print says that the hole is 700 thousandths. Well, I measured up the shaft and I drew the print. I don't know why I made it 700, but the shaft is a little under 625. All we have to do is give it a little bit of clearance so that if it goes over the nut and the shaft protrudes a little bit, it's got some clearance. So I found a 17 millimeter drill. I have no idea where that came from. It's actually a very nice drill. Really good grind on it. So I'm going to use that. That's 669 thousandths, so it's got plenty of clearance. So I marked the drill, put a little spot on there, and I'm just going to run it in. It's just a clearance. Alright, so that should be plenty deep enough. Now we're going to come over here, we're going to pot this off. We're just going to pot it off to that line. Again, these tolerances are, it's just a spanner inch, so not a big deal. I'm going to lock the carriage. See how that speed is. See how that works. Alright, we're going to face this end off and then we're going to turn it down. I'm going to just set this at an angle. Go up a little bit. Let's go to 650. Alright, so we got to turn this back. This is 513, 500 or so thousandths. We're going to turn it to 863. We're going to grab the hermaphrodite calipers and a scale. And we're going to set this right on. So what we're going to do is we're going to set this dial caliper to 863. And then we're going to zero it. And we got 75 thousandths. So if we take, let's go 25, we'll go another 25 and check it, and that'll give us a pretty good idea of what our what this is cutting for load, and do it in 3 steps. Oops. and I'm 1,000th under, that's fine. Again, that's just the base circle of what this is going to be. I'm not too concerned about this, although I'll give it a little deburr because the end mill is going to come up and put a nice radius in there, so it's going to clean that up. I just need to have about 1/2 inch for the wrench to sit on there. So if you look at most wrenches that size, they're almost 1/2 inch. Okay. All right, let's deburr that. Give it a quick little deburr. After I cut the flats, I'm going to come in here and put a nice chamfer on that. That looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. Alright, so next step is put it into a collet block so that we can mill the lugs. So we're going to mill the lugs to engage the nut and do the hex. Okay, well, I'll see you over at the mill.